Exactly. All right. It looks like we should be live. We'll see if we start getting some comments going here. So if people can see us out there in Facebook land, can y'all start putting some comments? Looks like I forgot I have a static post that comes out when I go live that says these readings are free, because I used to go live and do readings. I won't be doing readings today. So let me just put in there. We are answering questions.
Okay, because
questions.
Last time I saw comments, I'm not seeing them today.
Medium. I'll put it on there. Mediumship today. I have to click a little button. Okay. Now you should see it.
Oh, yep, there we go.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's see here. We got some people. Looks like we have a couple of people joining us. Now, Christy, we're going to start today with, we are going through the list of questions that we had come up with. But so the next one we're starting out with today, and this is a big one. I'm sure you get this a lot, as I do. How can I discover my life purpose?
Yes, I get that question every single day from people. And I think when people go to a psychic or a medium, they're expecting answers like, well, you need to be in the IT field for this particular company, and they want specifics. And that's just not the way it works. To me, we're all here for the same reason, and that's to be of service to others. It's how do you choose to make that look? So your life purpose is to be in service to others. And the example I like to use is, let's say you're a doctor and it's just like, ugh, another patient. Oh my God. They're not in service to others. And we automatically think, on the hierarchical scale that they're way up here. If they're not doing it out of love and out of an act of service, that's not their life purpose. And then we can have someone who is picking up trash, and they do it with joy, and they do it with purpose and inspiration. They are in acts of service, and that is their life purpose. It doesn't have to be some big grandiose thing. It is intent is everything. And I think too, you look at wait staffs. If you go into a restaurant, where would we be without them? And if they do it with joy, it's let me get that for you. Absolutely. They are an act of service that is invaluable. But if they're throwing food at you, it's like, you need another job.
Doesn't it make all the difference when you go out to eat and you have a great server or not?
Yes.
Yeah. I want everyone to know that their purpose isn't hidden. Like, what brings you joy?
Yes.
I talk about my own children. I have 3 girls, and they're all so very different. Like, one is an accountant. One is in the service, is in one of the military branches of the service, and another is in the nursing field. So, hello, Miss Rebecca. So it's about what fits your personality and what can have you live at that higher love vibration. Like you were talking about, what are you joyful when you bring, give service to others? And I also want to tell people that I have noticed that there will usually be a baseline of what brings you joy, but that can morph and change a little bit as you get older and go through different transitions in your life. So I don't want people to think. I had someone yesterday, and they had gotten their degree in something completely different in what they were working, but then their spirit stepped up, and I was like, this is really what they're saying. Hi, Brittany. This is really what I'm hearing from you, that you should be in this field. And she's like, oh, yeah, I never thought about that, because she loved children. And that was very apparent. And she'd gotten a degree in early childhood education, but she wasn't teaching, because it just, the bureaucracy of it was a little bit much. Yeah. So she wasn't working with children anymore, but that really was where her gift was. So go where you have joy. Hello, Lori. Lori Doral. I think you must know her, because she said, good afternoon, ladies.
Hello, Lori.
Are you? Yeah, there we go. I want to make sure you were, are you seeing the chats there, Christy?
I am.
Okay, very good. I want to make sure. You know, me and technology, for everyone watching, if you're familiar with Christy, this Christy and technology, the other Christy might be a little bit better, but this Christy and technology, saying no. You know, it's always hit and miss. Before we go live, I'm like, okay, Christy, this is what's supposed to happen. I'm pressing the button now. We'll see what happens. And thank goodness. The other Christy is always so patient with me. She's like, yeah, let's see.
Whatever you do is more than I know. It's really quite sad.
Now let's roll into, I know, and here we are, these spiritual people, you know, talking spiritual stuff. I've been trying to weave technology into it because it's where we are today. Okay. Now this is a very broad one. What does it mean whenever to live a spiritual life? What does that mean?
I think it is to remember who you are and live a life of gratitude. That's living a spiritual life to me. It really is pretty simple. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be meditation. It doesn't have to be all of these things that people think it should be. I always say humans have a tendency to always make things harder than they need to be.
We really do.
Make it simple. Absolutely. And what makes you happy, remember who you are in spirit. And how you remember is what brings you joy. What makes you happy? What gives you peace? What gives you balance in your life?
Yeah.
Those are very simple things. That's what we want to work towards. And your body will recognize it when you're there. Yeah. It'll just, you know, you'll breathe and go, oh, this feels good. I want to do that again. Oh, then there must be something wrong with it. So I better go to somewhere else. It makes me a little crazy. It's like, no, it's very simple. Remember who you are.
Yes. I say to people all the time, I wish they could see what I see when I read them.
Yes.
Isn't that so true? Because you can see just the beautiful being that they are. And you know, I was on the phone with someone the other day, an absolutely brilliant person who came to me through this referral, and brilliant. And I was just talking to them about, you know, the spiritual life and where they were going. And they said, but you don't understand. I've done so much to be ashamed of. We all have. Please, I am so thankful. I am not who I was yesterday. I just am trying to be a smidge better, a centimeter better.
The next best version of who you were yesterday. No, we've all done. I mean, sometimes I'm horrified at the person I was in my 20s.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're not talking about that. Yeah. I want to say hi real quick to Jenny and Susan and Dee. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all showing up and supporting us. Now, before we go on to more questions, I do want to remind everyone the reason Christy and I are kind of doing these together so people can get a feel for our energy. We are doing an in-person event here in the Omaha area on November 14th in the evening. It starts at 6:30. You can get those tickets on either one of our websites, Christy Godwin Psychic Medium or ChristyPederson.com, both under the event section. You just go to either one of our sites, click on the events, and you can get those tickets. And Christy is going to be channeling Ramadir, which is a being that she channels. It's from, now, how would you describe Ramadir?
He is actually an extraterrestrial, but he has also been my teacher through the eons. And so a lot of times people have a line in the sand with extraterrestrial, I can't go there. And I've got a whole theory on that, which we might talk about at some time as well. But he delivers messages of hope for humanity. And he does it in a way that modern humans can understand. Mm-hmm. So the way I explain it is, how many of you read Shakespeare for fun? Not very many, because you know it's not even a language that we really use much anymore. Right. And that's the same with sometimes with spirituality. I'll open a book and go, wow, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this. Yes. And so what Ramadir does is deliver messages that modern humans can understand in a language and a way that they get it, that it makes sense and touches their soul.
Yes. So please come and join us. I will be doing mediumship. Christy's going to be channeling Ramadir, and it's going to be Coffee Alley. It's a little local coffee shop. It's so cute, and it's on the corner of 72nd and Harrison, kind of in a little strip mall there on the end. So, but get your tickets. We'd love to see y'all there. Now, let's go back to the spiritual life again. I do want to remind people, you know, Christy and I were just talking about, don't feel shame. Our goal is to not compete with other people, but to look at who we were yesterday and hope we're a smidge bit better. But you know what? If you fall off the wagon and you realize, you know what? I backslid. I'm not as good as I was yesterday. That's okay. There's always tomorrow to try again. But life is not about perfection. It's about trying to embody, this is just my opinion, love and compassion and authenticity to the best that you can. And I talk to people a lot about the vibration in which you do things. You know, Christy mentioned that a little bit earlier, talking about life purpose. It's how you do your job. You could be a checkout person at McDonald's, making a bigger impact on humanity than a doctor seeing patients. What kind of energy are you doing it with? And when I mentor people, I talk to them a lot when they will talk about, well, a decision they came to or a path they're thinking about going down. And I always ask the whys of it, because what is your energy behind that?
Yeah.
You can do the exact same, say the exact same words, take the exact same path, but what energy are you taking that path in?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes all the difference.
Well, and I find a lot of people don't believe in themselves. They think they're not worthy. Yeah. And they could be doing their job and doing it perfectly, but they're not giving themselves enough credit for it, which again is a shift in energy. It's be proud of who you are, be proud of what you're doing and what you're delivering to the human race. I mean, sometimes something as simple as a smile can change someone's life, let alone their moment, their day. It can change their life. That kind of kindness means everything.
You know, there was one of my people that I mentor, meet with them almost weekly. She had tried that with her husband. They had been married for a really long time. Just, you know, they got into a point in the relationship where his attitude probably wasn't as great as she had wanted it to be. And she had said, please just for one day, try smiling at other people. Randomly smiling at other people. And he did. So good on him that he did that. And it completely changed. He was surprised at the reaction he was having out in society, as opposed to what he had just the day before. It's that simple smile and kindness that we offer people.
And a compliment. I mean, and this is something, it's been many years ago now, but if I'm in a restaurant, if I'm out in the street and I see someone and I love their energy, I love their outfit that they're wearing, I love their hair, I'll just say, oh my God, you've got the best hairdo. That's so cool. Yes. And you can see them stand up a little bit taller, like, oh, thank you. They love it. I love it when I get complimented. And the energy exchange is just beautiful when people do.
It really is. I was on the way to a doctor's appointment the other day, and there was a lady in the elevator with me, clearly going through treatment of some sort herself. So she got on before me and got off after so I got on the elevator, and instantly she complimented me. Thanked her, but didn't think much about it. I was getting off the elevator as someone else was entering, and she was still on there. As that person got on, she complimented them on something. And I thought, this lady is living a day of gratitude. Like, how beautiful. She's like going to treatment. She's like, this treatment's not taking me down. I'm changing it with my attitude. And you could tell it made me feel better. It made the person going in the elevator feel better. So yes, change that energy just through compliments or offering gratitude.
Yeah, authentic compliments. Let's put that little caveat on there.
You know, I tell people, you can find something to compliment anyone about.
Yes.
You can find anything, a belt, hair, your shoes, just anything. You can find something. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about chakras. Right? What is the purpose of chakras?
Chakras are the energy centers of the body. It's kind of what makes us function. And there are 7 major chakras. And what I find interesting, people will come to me and say, I want to learn how to see an aura. Well, what is an aura? You know, it's the chakras, their vibration and their movement that goes out, and that's what creates an aura. And they'll say, well, what color is my aura? Well, it depends on what you're feeling at the moment, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing at the moment. But the color will always be one of the colors of your 7 major chakras. And I make a joke once in a while, and I'd walk in and go, oh, my aura is a filthy brown today.
My husband took a pic. We have this app. My husband took a picture of my aura the other day and sent it to me, but I don't know. I can't find it. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was hoping you could share the screen.
Well, I thought I don't see it on here. I don't know if he didn't send it to me or what.
But with the chakras, I think another piece of that can be confusing for people. It's like they want their third eye and their crown chakra to be the most dominant ones. It's like, no, they all have to be balanced. They all have to work together. And especially if you're developing some psychic abilities, that first chakra, your root chakra, you have got to be grounded on this earth. And you're connecting both places with earth and sky. And that will give you, I think, the best results of really
I agree. No,
developing.
absolutely. I agree. I just recently, I don't think it's been published yet, but I just did a TikTok about that. So for everyone who doesn't, well, I guess I record them on TikTok, but they go across all my social media. So I just did a social media blitz on that. And I teach that a lot in my classes. Think of your crown chakra. People, oh, I want my crown open, but think of it as a rubber band. If you just hold on a rubber band, it's like flinging all over the place. But if you ground that rubber band, it can stretch really high. So make sure you're grounding. And if your third eye and your crown are really open and big, you're going to feel lightheaded. You're going to feel ungrounded. You're not going to be able to do a well-rounded 360 view of whatever is going on in your environment.
People will ask, well, how do I ground? What does that mean? And one of the easiest ways is to just go outside and walk on the earth. Well, we live in Nebraska where it can be very cold. And I'll tell people, get one of those little dish trays and put potting soil in it all winter. And you can just walk around in potting soil for a minute and absorb that earth.
Yes,
you can go to garden centers and just, touch some plants, anything. And if you've got them in your house, do that, walk around and touch and breathe in that energy. Those are great ways to ground. Breathe
absolutely. There is nothing like Mother Earth to ground you.
Mm-hmm.
And also what Christy was saying is I teach mediumship classes, and we just did this, I think it was last week, where we talked about the root chakra and the first aura and the next chakra and the next aura. But the one that my husband had taken a picture of me, it made sense because I was teaching and my hands were up like this because I was teaching a concept and I have to talk with my hands. And so when he took a picture of my aura, it was all green, which makes sense because I'm typically very loving, except in the middle was red because it was like, and I was very grounded into the moment. I'm really talking about this, very earth energy was going on when you're teaching. So it's kind of fun if you download one of those apps on your phone. You can actually make your aura change just by what you're feeling, and it lets you show that you have some control over them.
Yeah.
You can definitely have control over your auras, over your chakras. Now, Christy mentioned the 7 major ones, and that's usually what everyone talks about. When you hear people talk about chakras, they're talking about the 7 that start at your root, which is kind of the base of your spine, and then your crown. There's 7 in between. The heart is considered the gateway chakra between the lower and the upper. But then there's also lots of other ones, like there's a couple in your hands. There's an earth star chakra. So don't think if someone starts talking about other chakras that they're crazy. There are other chakras. It's just typically when I teach them, when I talk about them, I'm usually talking about the 7 main ones because that's what people are familiar with. Work with them. I haven't put it out yet. I made a guided meditation, but I haven't posted it yet. So, but you can do just a search on YouTube for free guided chakra meditation. Mm-hmm. And I do much better in the beginning when I was learning meditation. And this is something Christy and I talked about last week or the week before, how we can meditate. When I was learning, I did better with guided meditations. Do you remember when you were first learning meditation, Christy, what worked for you?
It was usually when I was traveling and I was on a plane and I would because I had no place to go, I didn't have to worry about errands and I would just sit, and it was very easy for me to learn how to meditate that way, just being in a confined environment.
It is, because I was noticing that this morning. I went to a yoga class and, I had just between appointments, I was like, okay, I have enough. I just finished something up. I said, okay, I have just enough time to meditate, get home, get changed, and get back in front of the camera. I don't know if that's really a great place to do yoga from, but, I wanted to work out. And so the instructor was like, you're in this moment. There's nowhere else to be for the next hour. And so I was like, that's right. So if you can give yourself that time. There's nowhere else to
Yeah,
go.
and by the way, when I say I travel, that isn't like, 4 times a year I have a trip. I come from the corporate world where I traveled. I was on an airplane almost every single day. And so I use, yeah, that's when I say that's how I really learned is I was in a plane every day learning how to meditate.
So if someone out there is having problems meditating, you really want to develop that meditation practice. For one thing, it's called a practice for a reason. It takes practice, but try a guided meditation. Just meditation is not about on the top of a mountain. No, people can't do that. That's
And I
not.
also say meditation is whatever you do when you lose time. And so that can be yard work, it can be laundry, it can be unloading the dishwasher where you all of a sudden you go, whoo, where was I? That's meditation.
Yeah.
So when people say they can't meditate, it is a practice. It does take time and you start small and grow. But I want you to give yourself credit too for those times that you lose time, because that is meditation.
And pay attention when you're doing that and you get drop-ins, like all of a sudden you have a thought come in, pay attention to that because you get a lot of drop-ins when you lose time like that.
Yeah.
Now, Christy, how can someone develop their intuition?
Practice, practice, practice.
Right.
I'd say if you're on a spiritual path, you want to develop your intuition, think of it as a job. You show up every day and practice. And I think a fun, easy way is even with like a deck of cards and just start out with, is it black? Is it red? Flip it over. Is it a face card? Is it a number card? And just getting more and more detailed. And then another way is to just sit with a friend and try to pass ideas from your third eye to their third eye and see what lands.
Yes.
But it's practice and try different things in different ways and pretend it's just guessing. And you're developing your intuition.
No, Christy is so right. It's about practicing, and I always tease people to, like, we have our phone with us all the time. So you pay it. I know I was just reading that. I'll read it out loud here in a second. I was just reading that. Practice, you hear your phone ding and you're getting a text. Think about who is texting you. See if you can figure out who it is before you go to your phone. And the more you show yourself that you're right, the better it gets. Our ego brain likes to know we're right. So the more you practice and the more that you can show yourself that you can do this, the easier it gets. And keep a journal of your intuitive hits, things that you thought were going to happen that actually happened. So you can go back and prove, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can. And like Christy said, show up. Okay, let's read. I was trying to read it, but I was trying to listen to you at the same time. Let's see what Lisa left us here. Sometimes we feel that the difference we're having or striving is falling short. The chaos my clients or family members are enduring as a life lesson is not something they feel they can find a higher vibration. And my heart for them to change their energy or focus seems to feel woo-woo and flighty, uncaring to them. My work is to ground them from afar, send them good energy. Most importantly, do the work to maintain my own high vibration and protect my energy, and any tips to raise the vibration, the collective vibration. This is very true. I find myself, this client I was working with the other night is a prime example. They have huge business based on the East Coast, and they have all this brilliance, and they're going through several things in their life. And so they feel like they've done, why is this happening? Why can't I overcome it? There's so many ways to hold that space for them, but you just hold in positivity and love. Like when I'm mentoring someone or talking to someone, they don't even realize it, but the whole time I'm talking, I'm sending them love, because it's that love vibration that's going to change and make them feel more grounded. And also, I honor where they are. If they want to throw a fit, and I honor that. Feel those feelings. Just help them move past them. And there is so important right now for everyone to hold that love vibration in the face of what's going on the planet right now. If we give in, if we as light workers give in to that heavy, dark energy, we will be lost. It's about Christy Pederson, Christy Godwin, Lisa, Crystal, Dee, everyone on here holding that vibration of love. And what I have found is that, let's just say this is your, this is your protection. You have your love around you. The more society gets crazy, it starts kind of pushing up against it and we have to push out. It does get a little bit more difficult, but you can do it.
You can. And I also want to add, Lisa, that you're really not responsible for anybody else's journey. And you send them love, you teach them if they want to be taught. And if they're resisting, you let them resist. Their journey could happen really, really quickly because they're ready. Other people, their journey is, it might be decades. And just because you're doing everything you can, you want to see results just as quickly. And that isn't always the case. So you have to meet them where they're at, whether it's through resistance, allowing, giving permission. And just know that you are doing your best and the rest is up to them on how they want to progress, resist, and move along. I love that question.
I do too. And it also shows that Lisa can see what people are capable of. Because, sometimes we can see what people are capable of and you're like, no, you can do it. It's much harder. Yes, we need to allow them to have their own journey, but I do understand where that heart that she's coming from. She can see the beauty that they are capable of and the, how great their walk can be. And she's just like that little cheerleader beside, come on, you can do it.
It's true. I always say when I do a reading, I see the highest potential for someone.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's what they need to do, is see their own highest potential.
I want to thank Crystal just said that perfect way to spend her lunch break. We appreciate you joining us for your lunch break, Crystal. That was kind of why we scheduled at noon, hoping that people could catch us on their lunch break. Now, this is a funny one, I'm sorry, it's not funny, but it's one that, how do I protect myself from evil spirits?
I don't necessarily believe in evil spirits.
Nor do I.
I believe in low vibrating spirits, prankster spirits. Yep. And the protection I put around me is that no spirit that vibrates lower than a 6 density is allowed to have any kind of input in me, because anything lower than that probably isn't for my or my client's best and highest good. So I have my own boundaries of who's allowed to have input. So, there are plenty of low vibrating spirits out there. I don't call them evil, but I really don't want to have anything to do with them. And again, you have control, you have power, and you can just say, no, thank you. I don't want your input. You need to turn around, walk away, go back from where you came.
Absolutely. I want everyone to remember that everyone out there is a powerful spirit in their own right. And you have complete control of who has access to you. I have just doing a reading the other day. This lady's dad stepped up and described the spirit. And she said, that's my dad, but I don't want to talk to him. All right, then we will not be talking to him. Yeah. And, I sent him on his way and moved on to the next spirit. Everyone has that kind of power. And, everyone also is capable themselves of low vibration choices. Mm-hmm. So don't let someone tell you that they had an outside influence on them and that's why they behave badly, or that's why they did something. No, we need discernment and we have responsibility. And everyone out there, I want everyone to play a little game with me that, even I would say Christy, both of us Christys, we're very kind people. I cannot imagine Christy Pederson ever doing anything mean, or me, myself. I mean, I don't do that. However, you come up against my kids or my grandbabies, I will probably be capable of great violence. Everyone has it in them. Mm-hmm. It's the choice we make to rise above it. I was in a situation this summer where there was someone treated me pretty badly. And to the point, my husband saw it one day. He's like, what are you doing, Christy? Talking to me. Why aren't you coming back at them? No, I just need to hold that vibration in love. I need to hold that vibration in love. I could have easily made the choice to choose a lower vibration response. Everyone is capable of it. So I hope no one falls for that. Don't let anyone come to you and say, someone made me do it. There was an evil spirit attached to me. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
We need to take responsibility for our own behaviors.
Absolutely.
Now, here's a good one. I think I did a series on this. I don't know, last couple of months ago. I put out, social media stuff every day, so I'll lose track of when I did this one. But how can I manifest what I really want?
I love this question because there is the law of attraction, there's manifesting, there's all these things, and people go, but I do it every day. I picture it, I feel it, I know it, and it's not happening. Why? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First one, it needs to be on your life blueprint. Otherwise, we would all win the lottery.
Right, exactly.
So it has to be on your life blueprint that you're going to have whatever you're trying to manifest. The other reason is we have what I call monkey brain, and that's that monkey brain, which is, well, that was stupid. What'd you do that for? Don't believe that. So this side of you,
I have no idea what you're talking about, Christy.
My monkey brain gets very loud sometimes. So this side of you is saying, I'm going to win the lottery, and I'm going to pick up that ticket, and I'm going to donate to all of these causes. And this one is like, yeah, well, you know what the odds are. Yeah, nobody's ever going to win that. And it's a fight on these two sides of your brain. So if it is truly on your life blueprint that you're going to win the lottery, that's the best example because everybody wants to win the lottery. And it's not happening, that's why. And so we've got to learn how to turn down monkey brain and get rid of the negative thing that is, it's just canceling out all of these good vibrations and all of these feelings and mantras and all of these other things. Monkey brain is like, well, that's stupid. That's a little woo-woo. That just needs to, I can't say go away because monkey brain is part of who we are as humans. But if we can learn how to dial that down a little bit and let this side be the dominant side rather than monkey brain.
Right. Absolutely. Manifestation is, like Christy was saying, it's a co-creation with the universe. So the part of the brain that she was talking about that is woo-woo, that's that universe kind. But then we live on this planet. There is a part of our brain that is very egocentric and very grounded onto this planet. And we need that. We need that part to survive. A lot of people say, I just want my ego to go away. No, you don't. Your ego has kept you alive all these years. And you need it. But, manifestation is, it's an attunement to an energy, to vibration. Not like if you put two tuning forks together. I know Christy knows this because she is great with sound bowls. Christy does some beautiful sound bowl therapies. Just really talented in that arena. But if you have two tuning forks and you put them close together, they'll eventually entrain. They'll start vibrating together. So where do you want your vibration to be? You don't want your vibration to be in tune to that monkey brain. You want to feel, you want to get in attunement with what the universe is allowing to come your way. And I want people to also think about the lottery is a huge one. How many times, Christy, have you been asked, well, if you're a psychic medium, why can't you tell yourself the lottery numbers?
A lot of times, yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. But, it's the free, you want the feeling that all that money would give you, the feeling of freedom, the feeling of helping other people. So that's the feeling you want to attune to, not necessarily that money, but the feeling of freedom and being able to help others. So yes, there's lots of techniques out there. Christy mentioned a couple, but there is, Nikola Tesla's 369. There is, Esther Hicks has, a whole book on manifestation. I was just reading one the other day. I can't remember who the name of the gal, but it was all about energy. So it's about keeping your eye on the goal and getting rid of that monkey brain.
Yeah, turn that down.
Right, exactly. Now let's talk some about, yeah. Oh, this is a good one. I have a funny story about this one. Is there really a heaven or a hell?
I say yes, but hell is not what you have been taught or how you've been raised in a traditional religion. To me, hell can be right here on earth. And that is how you live your life, because so many people pick victimhood. And I say throughout our life, we have opportunities to be a victim, to be a survivor, or thrive. Most people will pick victimhood or survivor. It's like, did you even know thrive exists? And to me, hell is when it's a victimhood and you blame everybody else for your ills or your problems in life, instead of saying, what is the gift in this for me? What am I supposed to learn by this happening to me? And then move into survivor and then into thrive again. I do believe, and heaven is also right here on earth. It can be. When we do, our soul does leave our body, we do go to a place that I like to call heaven. But there are different levels of that as well, depending on the energy that you projected when you were in the human body. So, because I have a lot of times, I'll have parents come and they had a child commit suicide and they were gay. And are they in hell because they were gay? And I said, no, they were in hell on earth because of the way they were judged.
Absolutely. Yes. Amen, Christy. Yes.
Yeah. And it's, that's what we can observe, because people say, I just don't know how to judge. Well, you can observe, but don't judge. You can notice things, but don't judge them, and start catching yourself when you're like, whoa, what? Oh, wow. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. And this is a funny example, but a friend and I were at a Renaissance festival a couple of years ago. And I don't know if you've been, but it's like a huge costume party. And my friend was kind of rolling her eyeballs. And I said, isn't it beautiful that they've got a place that they can express themselves through costume? And I found it beautiful that there was a safe space for these people to dress and act in a way that made them joyful. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm sure if they dressed that way outside of a Renaissance festival, people would be judging them all day long.
Yeah, I love Renaissance festivals.
Oh, yeah.
I don't dress up, but I like seeing the other costumes.
People are so creative, and I find that amazing. So I judge them creatively.
Yes. I think I have the exact same, what Christy just said is exactly, I think that we can create our own hell here on earth. By, living in an area that we're not loved, that we're not, you can imagine those poor, I have had brought through people who were gay and took their own lives because they didn't feel accepted. To never be able to find a place on earth where you feel accepted is hell.
And especially from their own family, their own parents.
Oh my gosh.
Their own children.
Yes.
Because they are who they are.
I had gone to the chiropractor here, and a local chiropractor one day, and I was checking out, and I had my card. I was paying. I was done. I was paying, but I had a shirt on that had some angel wings. The lady complimented my shirt. I said, oh, I got this at Lilydale. If anyone doesn't know anything about Lilydale, it is a community here in the United States on the East Coast in New York where psychic mediums live there. And it's a fun little community to visit if you're into that kind of stuff, which of course I am. So I had visited, bought this cute little shirt. And so I said, oh, I got it at Lilydale. And she said, what? And so I explained it to her. Instantly, her energy changed. She said, well, I have a brother-in-law, and, I know he didn't go to heaven because he didn't accept Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. Okay, just please take my card. Yeah, I'm ready to go. And so she kept on and on. So finally, this was not the energy that I could have taken this to the highest octave. I'm just warning y'all. Because then she said, I could have done better, Christy. She said, how do you think you get to heaven? I said, I don't think how you get to heaven. I know how you get to heaven. How is that? You die.
Yes, everybody goes to heaven.
And so then she proceeded to say that wasn't true. Then my response was, there are plenty of people I have talked to over there that even I was confused at how they made it there. And that's the reason I don't have that book, because I would be at the gates of heaven with that book and I'd be like, Jesus, you made a mistake. This person, you just see what they did. I don't think they're supposed to be in here. That's why I have no business with the book.
Well, and for those with Lilydale, it's the world's largest spiritualist church. So, she can judge all she wants.
It is.
But it's a church. It's a spiritualist church.
And I've been to that church before. It's lovely. Like the services they have is just lovely.
I taught a class for them last winter.
Oh, did you? What did you study?
God, I can't remember what it was, what I taught.
Oh, you taught one for them, or you
Yeah,
joined one?
I
Okay.
taught one.
Okay. Via Zoom, or did you go out there?
Well, I went out there to visit, and then they contacted me and asked me to teach online over the winter months.
Oh, yeah. Because going out there, the community is kind of shut down the winter. I was like, oh my goodness, you do have very many attendees being, if it was in person, it gets cold there.
Yeah.
Now let's talk, this one I talk a ton about. This one is something that is always in my vocabulary. We're talking about the clairs. What are the clairs?
You go ahead and go first on this one.
The clairs are they're what I affectionately call the language of spirit. It's how we get information from spirit. So everyone is always curious of how you communicate with loved ones, how you communicate with your guide, how you communicate with angels. You just learn the language of spirit, and that's through your clairs. Now you do take the clairs, and then you have to tune that language to whatever level you're hitting. Are you on mediumship, your past relatives? Are you hitting the angel level? Are you hitting, you just learn that language of spirit, which are the clairs, and you think about a little bit associated with the chakras. It's easier sometimes if people can put those two together. You have claircognizance, which is clear knowing, crown chakra. Clairvoyance, voyeurism, third eye. You have clairaudience, clear hearing, associated with the ears. You have clairsentience, which is, clear feeling. You have clairalliance, which is clear smelling. And there's like 15 other ones, but again, as with the chakras, we talk about the main ones. Those are the main clairs. There's a lot of other ones, but those are the main ones. And you work with them. You have yourself open to, what do I know in this moment? What did I see when I met that person? Did I hear something? Is there voices in my head? Yes, I always have that checked out. I always have it checked out first, but voices in your head can sometimes be a spirit communicating with you. When you feel someone, how many people have walked into a room and instantly you're on high alert, like, oh my goodness, what happened here? Like you can feel the reverberations of an argument or something that happened. That's clairsentience. So what do you think about them, Christy?
And I agree with everything that you said. And when I sit down with a client, I say I am mostly clairvoyant, which means I get pictures, but I don't see with my eyes, I see with my head.
Yeah.
I don't hear with my ears, I hear with my head. Yeah. And so I'll tell people the information I get is correct. It's whether I can translate the picture correctly.
Isn't that the truth?
Sometimes they'll show me a corn cob and I'm like, allergic to corn? Are they farmers? How do I translate this?
Right.
And that's learning how to communicate with spirit. And like you said, the language of spirit is learning. And when I teach people how to meet their spirit guides, I said, I want you to be open to all of the clairs and explain them exactly how Christy just did, because I don't know how your guides are going to communicate with you. Yeah. Are they going to do it through sound? Are they going to do it through visions? Are they going to get it through just a sense of, I just think I know it. I feel it. I sense it. And you get used to because everybody has a dominant clair.
Yeah.
Mine tends to be clairvoyance. The others will develop as you work with it all the time, because it used to be where I was just clairvoyant, and now all of them are pretty well developed.
Oh, I imagine. You've been doing this long enough, Christy. Yeah.
But it's, knowing that you're going to have a dominant clair. So sit down and try to connect to your guides, connect to spirit, your loved ones, and see how you receive that information. And then you can develop it from there, and automatically the other clairs will follow suit and open up for you.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I say. I do on my website, Christy Godwin Psychic Medium, there's a classes tab. Under that classes tab is a clair test you can take. It's like 3 or 4 questions, and it will tell you what your most dominant clair is. In my just teachings, I have found that typically clairsentience is very popular. Like almost everyone has a pretty big degree of clairsentience because it's more accepted in our society. I feel like, it's kind of gut instinct.
Mother's intuition.
Yes, mother's intuition, gut instinct. Those are terms that people talk a lot about. We don't talk about, what's that vision you see in your head? Yes, I told this story last time. I'll probably tell it every time. I won't torture you with the story every time we're together, Christy, but I did say it last time. But that's the first time I met Christy, I was reading, and in my vision, every time I looked at Christy, I didn't really even see her. I just saw this extraterrestrial person. I did not realize that she channeled this being. I didn't realize that she had done that. Like she had books out about it. I did not know that. And I thought Christy was just going to call the paddy wagon when I was explaining this being that was around her. And she just started laughing. She's like, oh, yeah, no. And then everyone else in the room started laughing because they already knew. And I was just waiting for them to call the paddy wagon because clairvoyantly, all I could see was this extraterrestrial person around her. Can you speak about ringing in the ears? Ringing in the ears, I'll give my opinion, then Christy can say, there can mean a couple of different things. I always say, for one thing, have your ears checked. If they're okay. Ringing in the ears can be you're getting downloads from spirit. And you don't always know what those downloads are at the moment, but just be thankful for them and know that you will be using that information later. Now, whenever I'm teaching people to read, everyone has certain things that they do that are very particular to them. Like Christy and I could be reading the same spirit. We might get close to the same information, but how we're getting that information is probably going to be different because we're different people with different strengths. And ringing in my ear is also confirmation from spirit. Just like yesterday, this spirit was telling me something and I thought, this is crazy. Can I say this to my client? Because am I even seeing this? My ear started ringing. And that's just a sign from that spirit. I have, okay, that's part of my reading process, that when they make my ear ring, I'm on the right track. But outside of that, it can be that you are getting a download from spirit. So please pay it, acknowledge, thank them for the download.
I agree. And that's exactly what I tell my clients too. It's typically a download from spirit, and a download can show up immediately, or it can show up a day later, 2 weeks later, but they're getting that information until it integrates in your body. And you might not even go, oh, that was the message from spirit. You're just going to find a change in a belief system, a change in an attitude, a shift in your energy that might not necessarily be completely obvious to you. But that's what's happening with that download.
Absolutely. Yeah. Welcome, Zenja. Thanks for joining us. We don't care that you're late. You're just in time. Okay, Christy, we touched on this a tad bit earlier, but we didn't use the same verbiage around it. What is free will?
As human beings, when we come into this human form, we have got what I call a life blueprint. Those are our mission, our major challenges, the things that we want to accomplish, the things that we want to experience. So we can go from A to B, to be born, do them all, get done and die. Or we can say, I think I want to do it this way. Nah, I'm going to do it this way. And it's that ziggy-zaggy line that we've changed our mind. So everything is not necessarily predetermined, predestined for you. There are certain things you can't avoid because they are part of that life blueprint that I mentioned earlier. But how we get there is free will. And that's why when people have a reading with psychic, well, they were right about this, but they didn't get that right. Well, because free will is for everybody. So you can say, I believe in this, but somebody else that you're trying to connect with says, yeah, maybe not. They go off in a different direction. That's their free will, which affects you. Mm-hmm. And I always say that one of the biggest misnomers about psychics is they know everything about everything. And it simply is not true. Right. I was listening to an internationally known psychic, and she said she's one of the best in the world, and she's right about 85% of the time. And I was like, oh, thank God. Even she admits that we're not always 100% accurate. And it's because of free will that people can change their mind. They can go from A to B in a different way than just that straight shot.
Right. That is absolutely true. And I tell people, if I'm giving you an answer to a question that you don't like it, change the direction.
Yeah.
Think about, let's just say you've gone to a psychic. I would never give you a flat out answer to this, but I know some psychics will. Am I going to divorce? I'm not going to answer that question for you, just so we're clear. I'm not going to answer, am I going to divorce? I'm not going to also answer the question, when am I going to die? I'm not going to give you those answers. Other psychics may, but I will not. But let's just say you've gone to someone and they say you're going to divorce. Your marriage is over. Hi, Chris. Now you say, no, I'm not going to divorce. You completely change your attitude towards your spouse. You turn into the most loving person ever. Y'all go to counseling. You work on your marriage. You've changed the energy. Energy can sometimes be changed. That's the reason whenever and the further out you get with psychic readings, in my opinion, the less accurate they become, because there's so many opportunities to change that energy. What I will tell you when people ask me questions, I will say, in the current trajectory, this is what I'm seeing, because you can change that trajectory. And you know what? Free will is a beautiful thing. I always like it whenever people say, they'll come to me, I'm mentoring them through a situation, and they will be, well, my husband just won't. They won't. My child is this. They have their own lessons in free will to learn also. And I know that we like to think, but you know what? They should just be more loving. How can that be wrong? Well, that's not their path at the moment. Mm-hmm. And if we are trying to push our free will on someone and dictate their behavior, that's wrong of us. We can only be responsible for ourselves. It is up to other people to use their free will to make the choice that is right for them. Now, if someone's making choices around you that go against your free will and that you don't agree with, that's when you put up boundaries and you distance yourself. But you cannot, trample over someone's free will.
I had a client come to me and she was very upset. And she said, well, I went to another psychic and she told me I was going to die at age 72. And so she goes, I'm coming to you for an extension. Oh my God.
Christy, I had no idea you were so powerful.
Oh, no, yes. Mm-hmm. I said, no, absolutely not. And, I think the bottom line in this, first of all, don't ever go to a psychic that'll tell you when you're going to die, because it's you are the only one who knows the answer to that.
Right.
But I said, absolutely not. If I would have, let's say, yeah, okay, I've given you an extension, pretty much guaranteed she's not going to die at 72. But if she believes that psychic that said she's going to die at 72, she will probably bring that on and die at 72.
Yes, absolutely.
So don't ever ask that of a psychic. It is her path. But I also think that we've got opportunities for what I call early outs. And that could have been an early out for her by choosing to believe that psychic. Yes. Instead of, and this lady was upset when she left because I wouldn't give her an extension.
You know what? Chris, you should have just gotten your magic wand out and said, 84. Yeah. I'm 96. And then that would have been, she would have had such a belief system behind that, it would have happened.
112. It's like, oh my God, I got lots to do.
Right, exactly. She would have had such a belief system around that age that she still would live that way. I also agree with Christy when it comes to when she was talking about how this person was told she was going to pass, and everyone thinks that let's just say, I think that on my life plan, Christy Godwin is going to pass, I don't know, November 5th of 2030. And that's the only day I have to pass. I know that I've already bypassed some exit points. Just from my studying of people, going through past life regressions with people and doing all of that, it seems to me people have about 5 exit points. Mm-hmm. Don't know that for a fact. Some can have, but sometimes people can take those earlier ones. I know for a fact I've already bypassed 3. I'm not sure how many I have on my plan, but I've bypassed 3. Had a near-death experience just earlier this year. That was still this year. It's like, where are we? It's been a long year. So just know that's why, like Christy said, that's why we don't tell people, it's my belief that we don't tell people when they're going to pass, because then they have a belief system around that and you can manifest it.
And the same thing goes, this is one of my least favorite questions when somebody comes in and said, is this the right person for me? Is this my person? And I say, Spirit's not going to give me that information. No. Because especially in the case of women, I'll say, if I say yes, you're out shopping for a wedding dress. And if I say no, you're going to break up with them because you're wasting your time. And every relationship has to run its course. And
Yes.
I can't determine that. And so spirit is not going to tell me, and I am not going to tell you. You're
Right.
in a relationship for a reason, and it could be to clean up some old karmic dust that's hanging around. It could be to learn lessons from each other. I don't know the reason behind that. But, you know, that's where free will, I'm going to stay in this relationship because I think it's worth it. No, I'm going to get out of this relationship because there are some red flags. That's free will.
Absolutely.
You can stay or you can go.
The only time I've ever had a spirit say, and they didn't even say, you need to leave. They said, we would like you to be safe. So we would like you to consider leaving.
Same thing. I say I never ask to leave unless there's violence.
And there was.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was the only time I've ever had a spirit say, but they didn't come around and say, even then they didn't say, you have to go. They worded it in a way that that person knew that their safety was at risk, and they had to go. Otherwise, the spirit will say, here's the data. You're smart. Or you like one time, this one person, I still wonder about them. The spirit, because and sometimes because I don't always hear the spirit and then say what they're saying. I say it as I'm getting it, more like a channel. So before I knew it, the spirit is telling this gal in front of me to pay attention to her fiance's phone because he has been turning it upside down because there's information popping up that he doesn't want her to see. Change that subject real quick. I did. I mean, we dealt with, but I could see her wheels turning on. But even then, I mean, after I tapped it and I did feel like that person was probably doing something that would cause them to not get married if she found out. But spirit's not going to say that. They're going to give you the data. Like, consider looking at their phone, or is he doing something weird with his phone? Mm-hmm. All right. Now, do we really, this is I had a fun one around this yesterday. Do we really reincarnate, Christy?
I'm going to say yes and no. So that I believe if there is no time on the other side, how can we reincarnate? How can we have past lives? How can we have future lives? It really is parallel lives. But most people, including myself, have a hard time sometimes wrapping my head around a parallel life. What do you mean there is no time?
Right.
It's for us to measure our life is why time exists here. And on the other side, it's all happening at the same time. So we call it reincarnation because it's a little bit easier for people to understand that this was in the past, this is coming up in the future. But it's the example I like to use is my hand. Let's say this is your higher self, your soul. Then this is one life, here's another life, here's another life. It's all part of that soul, that higher self, but these are all happening at the same time. This might be caveman. This one might be spaceman. This one might be 1920s, all different, but it's all happening at the same time because it's extensions of that soul, which then is an extension of creator, God, spirit.
Yes, yes, yes. So I also want, that's a great visual. And so I also want people to understand, because I've had people ask me this questions, how can you read someone if they've reincarnated? Like if they've already come back to the planet,
yeah,
how can you then read them? Like Christy said, we have your higher self still resides in heaven or that plane. So that's who you're reading, is that higher self.
Yeah. And that's why when I do some past life work, when I'm doing energy work, that's why some of the so-called past lives influence the current life. Is because that energy is all interacting. It's like, okay, we need to separate the energy of those two lives because what's going on in this life is affecting you, holding you back in this lifetime. So let's clear that energy. Let's get rid of that so you can achieve, accomplish, do what you came here to do without the influences of those other lives.
It's amazing how much past lives or parallel lives, according to how you're looking at it, can really affect what's going on in this one.
Yeah.
Let's answer Lisa's question and then we'll wrap it up for today. Been at it for about an hour. I'm not sure when Christy has to go back to work. Anything we should focus on as we wrap up 2025 and prepare for all that 2026 may bring?
2025 is a 9-year. which is the end of a 10-year cycle. So that is clearing away the old, getting rid, being conscious, choosing to release what no longer serves you. And so if this has been a tough year for people, why does this keep happening to me? Oh my God, it's just been so rough. It's because you're supposed to work with that, clear it, and get ready for a brand new cycle. And to me, it's giving spirit permission, understanding what you really want to achieve, where you really want to go, what you want to do, and giving spirit, yourself too, permission to allow that to happen for you.
Yeah, I agree. You know, if you look back, I know a lot of people have had tough times this year, including myself. But I look back and, you know, how many people look back at 2025 and you feel like you lived 5 lifetimes this year? It's because you are closing down lessons, right? Hopefully you are closing down them in a manner that made you proud, and you can roll into the next year more positive. Now, I'll tell you, I was teaching class the other day, and part of the intermediate advanced mediumship, and I channeled an angel. And he said, in 2 months, and this was just a couple of days ago, we're going to start seeing an uptick in more positive energy.
Okay, I'm reading.
I know. I wish you well. I read Christy.
Elizabeth Bennet. Oh, Pride and Prejudice. That's the main character in Pride and Prejudice.
Oh my goodness.
Jane Austen's book. I love it.
So I agree with Christy. And look back over the year. Let's just say there is something that you went through that you wish you had handled differently, right? Hindsight's 2020. Do some meditation around it. Do some journaling around it. Do some clearing. Do a clearing ritual around it. You know, write it on a piece of paper, burn it, release it to the universe. It can no longer serve you. Even ruminating on what shoulda, woulda, coulda been is not going to serve you.
Yeah.
Make sure you end this year with a big release of anything that you maybe behaved or did something in a manner that you wish you could have done differently. We all have those every single day. Lost my husband 4 years ago. Lost myself. I want both. Of course. So Rebecca, I don't know if you saw on here, communicating earlier with someone named Dee. Dee is one of my longtime clients. She lost her husband, and it was a true soulmate connection, and Dee never thought that she would be happy again. She misses him every single day, but she has done a beautiful job of filling her life up in service to others, and that has really made a difference in her walk and how she views each day.
And, you know, what does every parent want for their child? They want them to be happy. That's what a spouse wants for them who's left behind too. They want you to be happy. That's what they want for you. They understand grief that is a testament to the love that you had together. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, they want you to be happy. And that's learning how to integrate that grief and still be happy.
Yes. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And if you want to see Christy and I in person, November 14th, if you're in the Omaha area, November 14th, we're going to be at a local coffee shop called Coffee Alley on the corner of 72nd and Harrison. You can get the tickets on my website, Christy Godwin Psychic Medium, or on Christy's website, ChristyPederson.com, under the events section on either site. You click on events, purchase your tickets, and we'll love to see you there. And I'm not sure if anyone on here, but I used to go through Eventbrite to do all of my tickets, and they had so many fees associated with it. I figured out, this not technology savvy person figured out on my website how to let people book, purchase multiple tickets at a time, just so y'all could avoid those fees. Because I didn't blame y'all. I'd have been complaining about those fees too.
I quit using Eventbrite too for the exact same reason.
They're crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely crazy. Thank you all so much for joining us. And thank you, Christy, for being here today. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I hope to see all of you on the 14th for our event.
Yes.
The time we've done this, and we got really great feedback from the first time. So I know you're going to really enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and bring your friends. So if there's someone who you're just not sure, this is a great event to bring them to. Yes. All right, everyone, have a blessed day.
Bye.